The arrival of the Council. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, where stars blinked like distant memories, a coalition known as the Galactic Council loomed large over countless worlds. This assembly of advanced civilizations had ruled over the known galaxy for millennia, establishing an intricate web of power that dictated the fates of lesser species. Each planet that joined this coalition did so under a veil of benevolence, but it was a benevolence steeped in coercion. The Council demanded tribute, resources, technology, labor, or soldiers, ensuring that every species understood their place within this hierarchical structure. For eons, this system had functioned seamlessly. Planets fell in line, their resistance snuffed out swiftly and decisively. The Council portrayed itself as a guardian of peace and stability, yet behind this facade lay an iron grip that crushed any hint of rebellion. Countless species had attempted to rise against their oppressors, but none had succeeded. They were either obliterated or brought into submission, their cultures twisted into shadows of their former selves. Among these lesser species was humanity, a newcomer on the galactic stage that had been quietly observed for centuries. The Council noted Earth's rapid technological advancements and its unpredictable nature. Despite their observations, humanity remained a primitive newcomer in a galaxy filled with ancient civilizations. However, as humans expanded beyond their solar system, establishing colonies and making contact with other races, the Council deemed it time to reassert its dominance. One fateful day, an alien fleet descended upon Earth's orbit. This was not merely a diplomatic visit. It was a formal delegation dispatched from the Galactic Council to deliver an ultimatum. As massive ships hovered above Earth like ominous harbingers, anxiety rippled through humanity. Governments scrambled to assess the situation while military leaders recognized the inadequacy of Earth's defenses against such overwhelming power. In a grand assembly hall that echoed with tension, an alien ambassador stood tall, flanked by aides whose sharp features and gleaming eyes radiated superiority. He did not speak. Instead, he handed over a formal document inscribed in the language of the Council, a message laden with threats veiled as requests. It was simple: submit or suffer dire consequences. As news networks broadcast these demands across the globe, fear gripped humanity. Behind closed doors, world leaders convened to deliberate their next move. This crisis was unlike any they had faced before. Compliance could ensure survival, but at what cost? Some argued that surrendering resources and technology was the only viable option given the sheer might of the alien fleet looming above them. Yet there were dissenting voices, military heads who pointed to humanity's historical resilience against insurmountable odds. They recalled how time and again, external forces had tried to impose their will upon Earth only to be met with fierce resistance. The discussions grew heated as leaders weighed their options. Would they choose survival through submission or risk annihilation by standing firm? The stakes were monumental. Giving in would mean sacrificing autonomy for generations to come. Defiance could lead to total destruction, but might also ignite a spark within humanity, a reaffirmation of its spirit and identity. As days turned into sleepless nights filled with deliberation, tension mounted until finally a decision was reached. Humanity would not kneel. They would not relinquish their resources or technology without a fight. A reply was drafted, not in convoluted diplomatic language, but in plain terms that no alien species could misinterpret. No. When this one-word response reached the ambassador's ears, he was visibly stunned. This was not how things were supposed to unfold. Never before had he encountered such outright defiance from a newly inducted species. Confusion clouded his judgment. Was this a miscommunication? Did humans truly grasp the gravity of their situation? He transmitted humanity's response back to the Council's core world, uncertainty gnawing at him about what would come next. The Galactic Council itself was equally baffled by this unprecedented turn of events. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss humanity's refusal, a word that carried more than mere defiance. It bore an implicit challenge against centuries of established authority. For once in their long history, they found themselves grappling with an unfamiliar predicament. What if humans were different? What if they possessed strengths that had been overlooked? The council convened urgently. Some members called for immediate retaliation against this insolent species, while others urged caution. After all, humanity had proven itself unpredictable in previous encounters with other races. But those voices advocating restraint were drowned out by louder calls for overwhelming force. Driven by centuries of arrogance and entitlement, preparations for retaliation began almost immediately. An armada was dispatched toward Earth, not merely for negotiation, but for conquest. The message was clear: defiance would not go unpunished. On Earth, panic spread like wildfire as news broke about the impending response from the Galactic Council. Governments scrambled to maintain order amidst rising fears among civilians who watched anxiously from their homes as broadcasts detailed what lay ahead. Humanity had made its stand, but now they faced dire consequences from an enemy far beyond anything they had ever encountered before. As preparations continued on both sides, one thing became evident. This confrontation would redefine what it meant to be human in a galaxy filled with powerful beings who had long dictated terms without question. And so began humanity's journey into uncharted territory, one where survival hinged not just on technology or strength, but on cunning ingenuity and unity against an overwhelming foe looming just beyond Earth's atmosphere. Humanity's response. The moment the word "no" reverberated through the Galactic Council, it sent shockwaves across the cosmos. The Council, accustomed to unwavering compliance, found itself grappling with an unprecedented challenge. As the alien ambassadors relayed humanity's defiance back to their homeworld, a palpable tension filled the chambers of power. This was not just another routine subjugation. This was a direct affront to millennia of authority and control. On Earth, the atmosphere was electric with uncertainty. News of the Council's impending retaliation spread like wildfire, igniting fear and anxiety among the global population. Citizens watched in horror as reports detailed the size and might of the alien fleet now en route to their planet. The media painted a grim picture, showing footage of the massive ships bristling with weaponry, casting ominous shadows over Earth's surface. Governments scrambled to maintain order, but panic began to seep into every corner of society. In a hastily convened summit, world leaders gathered in a fortified bunker beneath the United Nations headquarters. The stakes were higher than ever. They were not merely discussing resource allocation or military strategy, but the very survival of humanity itself. The room was filled with tension as military generals and political leaders exchanged worried glances. Do we really believe we can stand against them? One general questioned, his voice tinged with doubt. Their technology is light years ahead of ours. Another leader countered. And yet we have something they do not: our will to fight. We've faced extinction before and emerged stronger. The debate raged on, oscillating between despair and determination. Some advocated for immediate compliance, arguing that survival should take precedence over pride. Others argued passionately for resistance, invoking humanity's history of overcoming adversity against all odds. Remember our past, urged a prominent scientist. Every time we've been backed into a corner, we've found a way out. We cannot let fear dictate our actions now. As discussions continued late into the night, a consensus began to form. Humanity would not submit without a fight. They would not relinquish their autonomy or resources without resistance. With resolve solidifying among Earth's leaders, plans were set into motion. A multinational task force was established to coordinate defenses and strategize countermeasures against the impending alien assault. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock in secret laboratories to finalize experimental technologies that had been developed in anticipation of such a crisis. One such initiative was an advanced energy-based defense grid designed to absorb and redirect energy attacks, a last line of defense against overwhelming firepower. Alongside this, an EMP-like device had been engineered with the potential to disable alien technology temporarily. The risks were significant, If these weapons failed during combat, humanity would be left vulnerable and exposed. As preparations intensified, leaders addressed their nations through emergency broadcasts. "We stand on the brink of history," one leader declared passionately. "This is our moment to unite as one people against an existential threat." Across the globe, citizens rallied together in solidarity. Protests erupted in favor of resistance. People took to the streets waving banners emblazoned with messages of defiance. "We will not bow, and together we stand." The spirit of humanity surged as individuals from diverse backgrounds joined forces under one cause: the fight for survival. Meanwhile, within the Galactic Council's war rooms, reactions varied dramatically among its members. Some representatives laughed at humanity's audacity. They saw it as nothing more than a fleeting moment of rebellion that would soon be quashed. Others felt unease creeping into their ranks. What if humanity was indeed different? What if they possessed an unpredictability that could turn this conflict on its head? Despite these concerns, the majority pushed for decisive action against Earth. They could not allow this act of defiance to go unanswered. It would set a dangerous precedent for other species under their dominion. As Earth prepared for war, so too did the Council's fleet ready itself for an assault unlike any other they had conducted before. Massive ships moved into position above Earth's orbit, each vessel brimming with advanced weaponry designed for annihilation. On Earth's surface, military leaders monitored incoming data from reconnaissance satellites that had been deployed around the clock. They watched as alien ships began to encircle their planet like vultures waiting for their prey. "Prepare all ground-based defenses," barked one commander as he paced back and forth in front of a large screen displaying real-time images of the approaching fleet. The tension in command centers reached fever pitch as soldiers manned their stations and civilians were urged to seek shelter in designated areas. As night fell across various continents, families huddled together in their homes, fearful yet resolute in their determination not to surrender without a fight. Children listened wide-eyed as parents recounted tales of human resilience throughout history, stories that inspired hope amidst despair. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for: communication from the alien fleet. A booming voice echoed through every communication channel on Earth, a chilling reminder of what was at stake. "Humanity, you have been summoned to submit your resources and technology as tribute to the Galactic Council. Refusal will result in your total annihilation." The message reverberated across nations like thunderclaps, striking fear into hearts, but also igniting flames of defiance among many. In response to this ultimatum, world leaders convened once more, this time with steely resolve etched on their faces. "We will respond," one leader declared firmly. "Not with submission, but with strength." Plans were finalized for a counterattack that would involve coordinated strikes using guerrilla tactics rather than direct confrontation, a strategy designed to exploit weaknesses within the disorganized alien ranks. As dawn broke over Earth's horizon, hope mingled with trepidation among its inhabitants. The world held its breath as it awaited what came next, an uncertain future where either victory or destruction loomed just beyond reach. The countdown began as humanity prepared for war. They would face their oppressors not just as individuals, but as a united force determined to reclaim their freedom at any cost. The Council's reaction. The Galactic Council convened in an emergency session, a rare occurrence that underscored the gravity of the situation. Representatives from various species gathered in a vast chamber adorned with holographic displays of star systems and planetary maps. The atmosphere was thick with tension as the council members debated humanity's unexpected defiance. Do they not understand the consequences of their actions? An elder from the Xyrath species exclaimed, his voice echoing through the chamber. "This is not mere rebellion. It is an affront to our authority." Another member, a sleek being from the Vantari race, countered, "We must consider that humanity may possess capabilities we have yet to comprehend. Their refusal to submit could indicate a level of cunning we underestimated." As discussions intensified, the Council faced a pivotal decision: how to respond to this unprecedented act of defiance. Some members advocated for immediate military action, arguing that a swift and overwhelming display of force would serve as a warning to other species contemplating rebellion. "Let us demonstrate our might," insisted a young commander from the Xelthian race. "A show of power will ensure compliance from all who witness it." However, voices of caution emerged among the ranks. "If we strike too hard, we risk galvanizing humanity's resolve," warned an elder statesman from the Clith race. "They may unite against us in ways we cannot predict." Despite these warnings, the Council ultimately decided on a course of action that reflected its long-standing tradition of dominance. They would unleash their full military might upon Earth, intending to crush this rebellion swiftly and decisively. As preparations began for the assault, the Council dispatched a message back to Earth, a final ultimatum that would echo across the planet: submit or face total annihilation. Meanwhile, on Earth, leaders and military strategists were hard at work implementing their plans for defense and counterattack. They had spent countless hours analyzing every piece of intelligence gathered about the alien fleet. The data revealed weaknesses in their formations and vulnerabilities in their technology, information humanity intended to exploit. As dawn broke over Earth, a sense of unity permeated through nations. Citizens gathered in public squares and parks, waving flags and chanting slogans of defiance. The spirit of resistance surged through every corner of society. People were ready to fight for their freedom. In command centers around the globe, military leaders coordinated their strategies with precision. The plan was not to engage in head-on battles, but rather to utilize guerrilla tactics, striking swiftly and retreating before the enemy could retaliate. As the alien armada approached Earth's atmosphere, anticipation reached its peak. The first wave of ships entered orbit, darkening the sky with their sheer size. Massive warships bristled with weaponry capable of devastating entire cities in seconds. But humanity was ready. The moment the first energy beams lit up the sky in an attempt to obliterate key targets on Earth, humanity struck back with everything it had. Ground-based defense systems activated, unleashing torrents of energy that redirected incoming attacks back toward their sources. The alien ships faltered momentarily as they reeled from unexpected counterattacks. In this chaotic dance of destruction, Earth's forces executed their guerrilla tactics flawlessly. Small fighter crafts darted through the skies like hornets, targeting vulnerable points on larger ships while avoiding direct confrontation. Each successful strike ignited hope among Earth's defenders. They were not merely surviving, they were fighting back. As battles raged across various fronts, reports began pouring into command centers detailing unexpected successes against alien forces. Humanity's resourcefulness shone brightly. They adapted quickly to evolving threats and utilized every advantage they could muster. But amidst these victories came losses. Cities fell under alien bombardment, and lives were shattered in an instant. Each casualty weighed heavily on humanity's conscience. They fought not just for survival, but for every soul lost in this conflict. Back within the Galactic Council's chambers, panic began to set in as reports arrived detailing significant losses among their fleet. The Council had anticipated a swift victory, but now faced an unexpected stalemate against a species they had deemed inferior. "Something is amiss," one member muttered nervously as holographic displays flickered with images of damaged ships spiraling out of control. The young Selfian commander who had once advocated for overwhelming force now felt doubt creeping into his mind. "Perhaps we underestimated them," he admitted reluctantly. As battles continued to unfold across Earth's surface and skies, both sides found themselves locked in a struggle that neither had anticipated, a conflict defined not just by technology, but by sheer willpower and determination. Back on Earth, leaders gathered once more in command centers, filled with screens displaying live feeds from battle zones. They knew that while victories were being won, time was running out. Resources were dwindling as casualties mounted. In a moment of clarity amidst chaos, one leader stood up and addressed his fellow commanders. "We must turn this tide. We cannot let fear dictate our actions any longer. We need to rally our people. This fight is about more than just survival. It's about our very existence. His words resonated deeply within those present, an affirmation that echoed throughout humanity's ranks as they prepared for what would be their most daring offensive yet. An all-out assault on key alien command ships hovering above major cities. As Earth united under one banner, the banner of defiance, the tides began to shift ever so slightly against their oppressors. A fierce determination coursed through every soldier and civilian alike. They would fight until their last breath, if necessary. And so began humanity's counteroffensive, a final stand against an enemy that had underestimated them at every turn.